Alright, so as promised, I'm going to go back into the month of January and try to get some more intricate details into what's going to happen. Now, I'm just sitting here in my chair like I normally would when I'm reading for somebody. So I just wanted to do it sitting and relaxed and off camera. So that's why it's this way. Karen is in the chair across from me in case you hear a noise or somebody cough or something like that. You might also hear a dog start snoring. So, other than, in fact, I just think she's snoring now. So what I did is I went back into January and I went back into the video that I did, the yearly prediction video. And already got some kind of verifications in my own personal life. That tends to happen to me. I'll get things coming at me, and then I'm able to sort of channel some answers and lessons out of that, and that seems to be what will affect the collective in the coming weeks. That dynamic has been working for me for quite some time. So some of what I've gotten came to me last night in a dream. Some of it is some things that have been happening to me. And then I'm going to just tap in at the same time. I already tapped in, and just get any more specific messages that I can get for the month of January. Now, this one is for YouTube. I will be doing another one for Patreon later on tonight, where I will be on camera. And in that video, I can talk about the specifics that I can't really talk about here on YouTube. So we'll leave it at that. The link for Patreon is in the description. It's $3 a month, and you probably get, somewhere around 40 videos a month for that. So, all right. What I already got for January, the second time around here, is that we thought it was bad. We thought what we thought was going on was bad enough. Well, we are going to be shocked. Everybody. All sides, if you want to use that phrase. Everybody's going to be shocked by just how bad it is. It won't matter what side somebody is on, who what their affiliations are, politically, the virus, any of that. None of that's going to matter when what comes out comes out. Everybody, for the most part, is going to be so shocked. And a lot of the facade, a lot of the veil that keeps people asleep is going to crumble down rapidly. Now, I still feel like if we do get any resolution to anything in January, it will not be until extremely late in the month or early on in February. In my yearly, I was pretty animate. We were not going to get any resolution in January. And the only thing that's changed there is that I do feel a little bit of a speeding up of the timeline. And so it's possible at the very tail end of January we start to really get a resolution to things. But I'll say the same thing here that I said to the group that I spoke to in February of last year. I do not see a way that we will have a peaceful resolution to the current situation. And if you want more details on that, that's going to have to be on the Patreon video, because I can't talk about it here on YouTube without getting censored and the videos not being shown anymore. So I want to pause to make sure that everybody understands that this reading I'm doing for January is not just for the United States. And it's not just for world events either. The same dynamic is going to apply in your personal and private lives. As an example, in the reading for January, in the yearly, I said that this was going to be a time where you were going to benefit if you had the ability to exhibit extreme patience. And that dynamic has already played out in my personal life at least twice in the last week. Now we're seeing patience being displayed in the political stage, in the medical stage. But if your interest is less about world events and more about your own individual lives, the lessons and messages still apply. January is not going to be a month. Do not make rash decisions. Do not take rash actions. Do not take rash reactions. You will be poked and prodded and stimulated and triggered and manipulated into making rash, quick reactions and decisions. Do not do it. Think back to a time in your life when you held your ground and you waited and you had patience and you waited and you waited as hard as it was, and then you were so glad that you waited because you got the resolution you wanted because of the patience that you had. I cannot stress that enough for this month. That's number one. Number two, my assumption is that there are people on both parties, both sides of the political aisle right now. And each side is going to believe with all their heart and all their soul that they are right, this is their story, and this is what's happening. And as hard as it may be, I'm going to tell everybody, if you become emotionally invested, spiritually attached, if you put 100% of your faith into either one of these sides, you are going to be creamed. You are going to be let down like you've never been let down before. You are going to end up questioning everything about how you think, how you get to the decisions that you've made, and you will significantly have a crisis of your own self-judgment. You will be so caught off guard that how could you believe all these things that you will question your own self-judgment. And that goes for both sides. I know the tendency, the inclination is whatever side you're on, you're going to be sitting there thinking, well, not my side. Yes, your side. Yes, your side. It is way worse than anybody thought. The things that you were afraid might happen, could be happening. Not only are they happening, but it's worse. It's more intense. It's worse than you thought. The actions that you were attempting to not have to partake in, the fight you were hoping to not have, the consequences you were trying to avoid, are unavoidable. It's unavoidable because of the nature of what's going to be revealed. All the way around. If you are still stuck thinking that this is about politics, about one side or the other, you need to rapidly catch up in your own spirit. Rapidly. This playtime is over. The pre-show is over. 2020 was the pre-show. And if you take that break before the main event thinking you have things figured out, thinking you've seen this movie, you know how it's written, your world is fixing to be turned upside down. And that extends to your personal and private lives as well. If you want to avoid outcomes that you have been afraid of, the only way to do that is going to be to face truth while at the same time not taking action. That is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. To be able to understand that maybe you've been fooled, maybe you've been tricked, maybe something has been going on, or maybe your mind has been playing tricks on you and you have been making up stories. Either way, find out the truth, but then let it sit. Let it sit, and do not take purposeful, direct action based on new information that either confirms what you've been feeling or confirms what somebody else has been telling you has been happening. Let it sit. Wait. Have patience. If you take action, it will be rash, it will be harsh, it will be wrong, and you are going to regret it come February. Because by February, the things that you are figuring out now will be a distant memory and they won't matter unless you've screwed things up by reacting to them. Do not burn any bridges this month. You're going to need them. Now, in terms of the grander world, the bigger world stage, with the restrictions and this virus, if I can even say that word anymore on here. There is a great portion of the population that has their eyes closed. The problem is that the people with their eyes closed still are not exactly 100% wrong either. There's truth, little bits of truth, in everything that everybody is saying. There's positives and negatives. Nobody is wrong 100%, nobody's right 100%, so nothing can be decided. Where you need to find your line, where you need to determine your line first is, are you on the side of government intervention or non-government intervention? Doesn't have to be a judgment one way or another. Some people want to live in their parents' house until they're 30 and 40. Some people are itching to get out at 14. That's the sort of situation we have here. There can be real things that are happening, and the difference in opinion that we have is how it should be handled. Should we take complete full responsibility for our own life, our own care, or should we hand that over to someone who's going to tell us how to do things, what to do, and what we're allowed to do and not to do? And to each side, the other option seems completely unpalatable. So, as a collective, we have two choices. We can either accept that there's going to be people over here that believe this and people over here that believe this, and somehow work something out to give everybody what they need, or we can bludgeon ourselves to death fighting over it. But a decision needs to be made in each individual's mind, heart, soul, body, spirit. Check in with it all. Check in. Make sure you're choosing the path that you're willing to fight for, even if you don't want to. Because one way or another, a fight is coming. A standing up for what you believe is coming regardless of what you choose. That's inevitable. Everybody knows it. This time has been written about long before I came around, long before any of us came around. Now, I know in my yearly reading, I talked about the weather in February being nasty. And I also said at the beginning of the reading where the months can kind of run together a little bit. If I say this is going to happen in January, it doesn't mean January 31st comes and goes and that can never happen, right? I mean, there's some leeway there. And I'm not trying to date my predictions. I'm more interested in giving people a sense of what's to come so that they can be mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared. If I'm off by 2 weeks, I'm off by 2 weeks. That's not the point. The point is not to pick out exact dates and say it's going to happen here. So the point about the weather being is that I know that I had said that for February, but I'm not feeling weather-related issues in January. There will be some more natural disasters, unusual. Unusual, not, abnormal things in unusual places. But nothing that's headline grabbing for more than 5 minutes. Now, February, that might change, and I know in March and April it gets downright nasty. So as odd as it may sound, enjoy your January winter weather. Who the hell knows what's coming later? Now, they've given me the word here of a bomb blast. I know in my yearly, I talked about something was going to burn, and that there would be some sort of speech about rising up from the ashes around January 23rd, January 24th, and it would involve a man with dark hair, polished. Something about a bomb blast and a word that I can't get clear on. When I originally said I saw him on the Capitol steps, but now I'm getting this word. It starts with the C and an L that's related to the bomb blast. It's not clear. The way it sounds, the way the word sounds, I don't even know if it's a word, but giving me the word of like a clairdom. CLAIRDOM. I don't even know if that's a word. Sometimes I get words that aren't words that mean things to the client. So whatever mechanism that is, that's the word I'm getting. Something having to do with a bomb blast, clearance, claridum, something with a C and an L. And I can't get anything more clear than that. As far as the rest of the information for January, and then I'll be done after this. You're going to be shocked, but don't allow yourself to be shocked. You're going to have every reason to be in a frame of mind that you just physically cannot believe what you're seeing and cannot believe what you're hearing. You don't want to believe what's being shown, what's being told to you. And this extends to your personal life as well. I have to stress that significantly. Do not look at this just from the point of view of world events. This is both in the macro and the micro. You cannot express enough. Do not give anybody an instant reaction. You will be tempted hard. And you will have valid reason to give a reaction, to tell somebody, well, this is what I'm going to do about what you just did. Or this is what I want to have happen. You're going to have every reason to do that. The temptation will be there, and you may feel like, of course, it's a no-brainer. It makes total sense that this is how I'm going to react. Nobody would blame me. That may be true. But don't do it. It's a trap. It's an absolute trap month. The same way that the public has been set up by the media and the fighting on both sides, the same trap that's been set where everybody believes things that are just ridiculously false on both ends. The truth is being blocked, the truth is being censored, and those doing the censoring believe their own version of the truth. And nobody knows, but we will. So the best thing you can do this month is take in the information. Just take it in, internalize it, check your process. Check the process by which you got to where you are. I've been saying this for a couple of months. To check your processes of how you got to believe what you believe now. Because if your world gets rocked and you find out you were terribly wrong, you're going to want to have known how you got where you got. You won't be able to figure it out in that moment. Once you've gotten to the shock of realizing how wrong you were, you will not have the wherewithal to go back and genuinely figure out how you got there. You will block that process. That's human nature. You're not going to allow yourself to get to the bottom of things. You're going to not be willing to admit in those moments. This information is going to be so extreme, so different, so radical from anything that you even thought was possible, that you're not going to be willing at that time to go back and look and see where, who it was that steered you wrong and steer them away. You won't be willing to do it unless you do the work up ahead, up front, so that this is how I got to believe what I believe. This is who told me this. This is who I listened to. This is what I believe. This is why I believe it. Do that work now, so that when you get proven wrong, you could already have a map to go backwards. It's imperative that you have a map to go backwards, so you know whom not to trust anymore. You know what process to not trust anymore. You know what method that you were using that needs to be, re-looked at and retooled. Do that now. You've got till the 7th. Yeah, till January 7th. And that's the last thing, is that for the last week and a half, every single thing that has come up in my life, everything that has come up on the world stage, everything that anybody has asked me, they are just, my guides just pounding me. None of it matters until January 7th. None of what's going on is going to matter after January 7th. January 7th, they're not telling me exactly what, but at the very least, hold off on any actions until then, because that's going to be the beginning of a lot of things that a lot of us were hoping to avoid. All right, that's it. Thank you all for watching. I'll have this uploaded, and then tomorrow is Monday. That's the 4th. Yeah? 4th? I think so. Anyway, the more in-depth reading will be up on Patreon on Monday. I'm going to do that tonight, so I'll post it tomorrow. That's the one where I can talk about the specifics of what I've generalized about here. So if you're interested in that, greatly appreciate the support over there so I can continue to do the work that I'm doing. I'm hoping to build an audience over there so that, you know, I get enough people at $3 a month. I can not just do the videos, but I can, you know, help people on an individual basis with readings and everything, and not have to worry about the financial end of things. That's the truth of it. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.